to preserve, protect, and defend the soul of America. Welcome to the great stadium grift, American sports subsidies, owner leverage, and the fleecing of cities. For most of American baseball history, the venues that housed professional sports were monuments to private ambition. Early landmarks like Fenway Park and Wrigley Field were built by private ownership groups using private capital. Team owners needed a place to play, so they bought the land and paid for the construction themselves. A century later, the model looks entirely different. In 2016, the residents of Las Vegas committed $750 million in public hotel taxes to help build a nearly $2 billion arena. The primary beneficiary was an NFL franchise owner, whose personal net worth was estimated to be less than the cost of the stadium he was receiving. The American sports stadium has transitioned from a privately funded local business venture into a publicly subsidized infrastructure project designed specifically to transfer wealth upward into private hands. The mechanics of this upward transfer originated in the 1950s. The Boston Braves were struggling to draw fans, and Milwaukee offered them a solution: Milwaukee County Stadium, built entirely with public funds, speculatively designed to lure a major league tenant. The Braves moved, and attendance surged. Franchise owners took careful notes. In New York, Ebbets Field was aging and landlocked by a changing neighborhood. The Dodgers ownership wanted a new, suburban adjacent site. To get it, they initiated extended negotiations with New York officials, while simultaneously fielding a highly generous offer of public land and infrastructure from Los Angeles. Owner Walter O'Malley used the Los Angeles offer as leverage against New York, framing his demands to the city in ways that were highly likely to fail. When New York declined to meet his terms, the Dodgers departed for California. This maneuver demonstrated a highly effective new reality. A franchise's location was entirely negotiable, and municipal governments would engage in expensive bidding wars to secure one. The threat of relocation became a permanent fixture in sports economics. This animated diagram shows how manufactured scarcity functions. Sports organizations operate as collusive cartels, strictly capping franchises and keeping supply artificially low. Because of this structural cap, if a team leaves, the cartel blocks competitors from filling the gap. A city losing its franchise loses its major league status completely. Confronted with the prospect of losing a team, local politicians must justify authorizing massive public subsidies to keep them. They routinely rely on economic impact studies, paid for by the franchise itself, to argue that a new stadium will pay for itself through local growth. Decades of academic research expose the flaws in these projections. The first major issue is the substitution effect. An area's total entertainment spending remains largely fixed. A family spending $300 on football tickets is redirecting money they would have otherwise spent at local restaurants or theaters. The stadium does not generate new wealth. It merely cannibalizes existing local commerce. Then there is the leakage problem. Professional sports franchises are remarkably poor at retaining money within a host city. The single largest expense is player salaries. Those athletes typically maintain primary residences in other states, invest with national firms, and spend their income outside the metropolitan area that subsidizes their workplace. When independent economists review post-construction data, they consistently fail to detect any statistically significant increase in per capita income, employment, or tax revenue. As the economics of the industry evolved, so did the physical structures. By the late 20th century, national television broadcasting contracts grew to dwarf gate receipts, providing a high, guaranteed income floor. Owners no longer needed to maximize raw attendance. They needed to maximize the revenue extracted from each individual seat. To achieve this, architects segmented the market. They minimized general admission seating and prioritized the luxury suite. Crucially, while broadcast money is divided equally among all teams, luxury suite leases are strictly local revenue. That money flows exclusively to the individual franchise owner. Owners also introduced the personal seat license. Fans are required to pay a steep one-time fee simply for the right to purchase season tickets later. This operates as an unsecured, interest-free loan from the fan to the franchise, paying zero return and extinguishing immediately if the team ever decides to relocate. The public issues municipal bonds for construction, accepting all debt, while private owners capture the upside of naming rights, premium parking, and luxury sales. The modern stadium is engineered for social stratification. It systematically prices out working-class fans, while utilizing their tax dollars to construct premium entertainment environments for corporate clients, socializing the immense financial risk while entirely privatizing the profit. Elected officials continually approve these arrangements because of a dynamic political scientists call the asymmetry of salience. For a politician focused on a 4-year electoral cycle, the advantages of a stadium deal are immediate and highly visible. Delivering new stadiums brings high-profile ribbon cuttings, sympathetic coverage from sports broadcasters, and enthusiastic support from construction unions. Conversely, the costs are diffuse and delayed. A $1.2 billion bond obligation, or a regressive hotel tax increase, will stretch out over 30 years. The fiscal consequences and community displacement won't fully materialize until long after the officials who signed the contracts have left office. To be accurate, stadium developments are not universally barren of public benefit. Granular economic research indicates that facilities carefully integrated into dense urban grids can occasionally accelerate redevelopment, anchor existing historic districts, and generate measurable bumps in localized property values for nearby owners. Furthermore, hosting a marquee event like a Super Bowl brings genuinely additive tourism spending from outside the region. Surveys also show residents derive a measurable psychological benefit from knowing their city hosts a major team, whether they attend games or not. Yet, these benefits fall short of actual public expenditures. When a state contributes $850 million to a stadium surrounded by empty parking, the math ultimately serves the franchise owner, draining capital that could have been deployed for transit, schools, or public health. The American model of extortion by leverage is not an inevitability. It is a specific policy choice that most of the world operates without. This diagram outlines the European soccer model of promotion and relegation. A club's presence in the top division is not a permanent franchise granted by a cartel. It must be earned on the field. Underperforming teams drop to lower tiers, and successful teams take their place. This open system removes leverage. If an owner threatens to leave, a rival club simply wins their way up to fill the vacant market. Other leagues mandate specific ownership limits. In Germany, dues-paying club members retain majority voting control. A single outside investor cannot seize control and relocate. In the United States, community ownership of this kind effectively exists in only one place: Green Bay, Wisconsin. By breaking the cartel structure and ensuring community governance, these international models dismantle the manufactured scarcity that makes the billion-dollar public subsidy possible. Returning to the United States, the persistence of the stadium deal relies heavily on psychology. Rooting for a local team fulfills a genuine human desire for shared experience and communal identity. Franchise owners leverage that devotion, converting civic pride into a political weapon. They use the threat of withdrawing that shared identity to extract unprecedented sums of public wealth. The contemporary American sports stadium stands as a monument to a specific, deeply dysfunctional arrangement of power and money. It is an arrangement where public institutions are routinely maneuvered into underwriting the private empires of billionaires. To learn more about how policy choices shape American outcomes, check out Volume 2, Fentanyl Nation, Inside America's Opioid Catastrophe, by Sue B. Howell, available now on Amazon. Please subscribe and press the bell icon so we can continue to preserve, protect, and defend the soul of America.